Hey guys, it's Brodgi, and it's Christmas season. Ah yes, Christmas. The time of year where everyone gets a nice break from reality until they get the credit card bill. Almost everyone loves Christmas because they get to spend time with their friends and family and get free stuff from them. But my problem is, I don't have many friends because I spent the last 4 months inside of this gray room talking to myself about video games. I even tried having a guest, and that didn't go so well. So this time, I'm going to do something no man has ever done before. Go outside and talk to people. A few days ago, I got an invite to a Christmas party at the town's fire station, so I figured that would be a great place to meet people. Well, I can't stay here much longer. It's almost time for the party. Alright, I made it. Now all I have to do is find some new friends I can spend the holidays with. Hello? Hello? Do you wanna be friends? I don't know. I'm gonna need to run some credentials first. Have you played Banjo Kazooie on N64? Yeah, of course I've played Banjo Kazooie. But, before we talk about it, I need to go to the bathroom for at least the amount of time it would take one to beat Banjo Kazooie. Okay, so maybe I haven't played Banjo Kazooie, but luckily I brought my laptop with Banjo Kazooie on it because I never leave the house unprepared. Banjo Kazooie was developed by Rare and released in 1998 on the Nintendo 64, and quickly became one of the most beloved 3D platformers on the console. This is a pretty big accomplishment because this game was released on the same platform of games like Mario 64. The game ended up selling 3.65 million units, making it in the top 10 best-selling N64 games. But as mentioned earlier, I have never played it, so let's see if this game is as good as it's hyped up to be. The game opens with a view of the witch Gruntilda's lair, where we see her asking her magical cauldron if she is the prettiest in all of the land. The cauldron then says no, and that a girl named Tootie is. This sends Gruntilda into a fit of rage, and she goes off to capture Tootie. While all of this is happening, Tootie's older brother Banjo is fast asleep, while his partner Kazooie is desperately trying to wake him up to stop the witch from getting away. After Gruntilda steals Tootie, her plan is to use a machine to make Tootie ugly and herself beautiful. Banjo then wakes up and grabs Kazooie, and they are off to save Tootie. Now, of course, one of the most important parts of any platformer is the gameplay and controls, as this is what dictates how well the game plays, and from my experience, this game nails the controls and just how the game plays in general. One of my favorite parts of this game is the fact that when you first start the game, the tutorial is completely optional for people who have either already played the game or people like me who are used to how these kind of games control and can figure it out on their own. This allows you to get straight to the gameplay and doesn't waste your time telling you simple controls like a lot of games will do nowadays. It seems like a fairly small addition, but I think it really shows that Rare knew what they were doing and were able to realize that not all players would want to sit through an hour-long tutorial which just tells you how to jump. After you get past the starting area, the game sends you straight into levels without ever really interrupting you, allowing you to go from level to level, collecting every note and jiggy. During your adventure, I would say that there are no moves or abilities that go unused or are useless. All moves are used throughout the game, being used for traversal and challenges given to you by the game. One of the moves you learn early on that becomes the most useful is Talon Trot. It allows you to move up steeper surfaces and just move faster in general, letting you traverse levels much faster and easier. Throughout the game, you unlock more moves by finding Bottles the Mole and his mole holes hidden throughout some of the levels. These moves are required to beat the game, so it is important that you find all of them. Luckily, the game will let you know if there are any moves you haven't found yet, and they are usually in simple and easy to find places, making the whole process much easier and a lot more fun. By the end of the game, you have a lot of moves to use and remember, but it's never too much of a problem since the game slowly drip feeds them to you, giving you time to master their controls until it becomes second nature to you. Along with Bottles, there's another character who helps you unlock new abilities named Mumbo Jumbo. Mumbo allows you to transform into different animals and objects, which allow you to get collectibles unobtainable beforehand. Many of these transformations offer a fun change of pace, but never overstay their welcome or become annoying. The only things I ever found annoying about the game is the camera worked fine most of the time, but had the usual jank camera controls this era had. Also, the game would completely reset the notes and Jinjos, a collectible I'll talk about later, if I ever died or left the level, meaning I would need to get most of these things in one go, or else I'd have to start over. I have heard this problem was fixed in the Xbox version of the game, which is nice, but I still feel this should have never been a problem in the first place. But overall, this game plays extremely well and doesn't feel nearly as outdated as many other platformers from the time. Now, of course, with this game being a 3D platformer collectathon, one of the main focuses of the game are the levels in which you collect things. The game takes you through many fun and different locations throughout your adventure, which are all fun and memorable in their own ways. All of the levels are packed full of notes, jiggies, and Jinjos, which are all fun to find and collect. Notes are collected to open doors and access new levels. The amount you have is determined on your highest note score in each level, which you have to restart every time you die or leave a level, which I talked about earlier. The main collectible of the game are jiggies, which are jigsaw puzzles used to finish pictures that unlock new levels. These are fun to collect as you have to do many different kinds of challenges to get them, and they never become boring to collect as you always feel like you earned it instead of there just being so many that it takes away from the reward. One of the collectibles that is used to get a jiggy for each level are the Jinjos, which are hidden throughout the level. There are 5 in each level, and when you find all 5, you are rewarded a jiggy. The levels are relatively small, but still able to have so much crammed into them to where you can easily spend an hour or two in each level while trying to get everything. The levels are designed to where all of your current abilities you have are used to gather notes and jiggies, giving each level fun new challenges that put your abilities to the test. The only part of any level that I found to be annoying were the ghosts in Mad Monster Mansion, which just follow you around and attack, and it is very hard to dodge them in certain spots. But overall, the levels are extremely fun and get more challenging as the game goes on, making the game very fun, but not too easy. The game may have its occasional flaw, but especially for the time, this game is extremely fun and polished. I would definitely recommend this game to anyone who hasn't had a chance to play it. You know, I really enjoyed this game even though I was playing it on a laptop inside of a public bathroom. Now I can finally go talk to my future friends about Banjo Kazooie, and we'll be best friends forever and ever. You know, all of my good friends have at least played Banjo Tooie. After Banjo Kazooie became a huge success, Banjo Tooie was released 2 years later on November 20th, 2000. The game opens with Gruntilda's assistant Klungo trying to move the rock that was dropped on top of Gruntilda in the events of the first game. We then see Banjo and crew playing cards when all of a sudden a large earthquake-like rumble begins. Mumbo goes to check it out and finds that Gruntilda's sisters had destroyed the rock with a large drill they used to get to Spiral Mountain, and revived her as a skeleton. Grunty immediately sees Mumbo and begins to attack. She follows him back to the house and strikes it with magic. It then cuts to Mumbo, Banjo, and Kazooie all escaping the house. Then they realize Bottles did not make it out. Bottles then walks out covered in dust and proceeds to fall on the floor and die. It is then decided that they need to go after Grunty, and they follow her to the Isle of Hags, where the main games takes place. I think the story is a great continuation of the first one, making it feel like a true second part to the original, rather than just another game with the same main characters. Another amazing part of this game is the writing. This game genuinely had me laughing all the way through. Like when Bottles dies, instead of anyone seemingly caring about his death, Kazooie just makes the sarcastic remark that he, and I quote, wasn't the favorite character in Banjo Kazooie anyway. That brings up another thing about the writing as well. They're able to break the fourth wall without it feeling forced, which is present in the first game, but I found it much funnier here. I really enjoyed the story in this game because it's just really charming and funny, as well as actually expanding upon the world of the first game with all new locations you get to visit in the game. As far as controls and gameplay goes, this game is very similar to the original. Another thing I liked about this game was the fact that you get to start out with all the moves you had in the first game, and then build more on top of that. I think this was a much better way of doing it than most game sequels, as it doesn't waste previous players' time teaching you things you already know, something the first game and second both understand very well. But as mentioned earlier, the game lets you unlock a bunch of new moves that are focused on building on top of old moves, rather than giving you completely new ones. This can still change things up quite a bit as you unlock upgrades, as one of the moves you learn early on allows you to open up first-person shooter sections. This was pretty jarring to me at first, and I wasn't really sure how I felt about it, but it slowly grew on me, and even though the controls were not perfect, these sections worked surprisingly well, and I would say I had a pretty good time with them. Like the first game, transformations play a big role in level progression. I wouldn't say that they are really that different from the first game's transformations, but, you know, they're here, and they're kinda cool. Other than what I have talked about, the game doesn't really play that different from the original, which I think benefits it in a good way. The main distinction between Kazooie and Tooie is the level design. Where Kazooie's levels are much more compact and the hub world is nothing more than a place to get from level to level, Tooie has much larger open levels with a large hub world with many more of its own challenges and places to go. Another great part of the levels is that the Jinjos and notes you collect do not get reset when you exit the level, making the levels much easier to complete as you can take a break and do something else on another level and then come back later. As mentioned earlier, there are also a lot of challenges to complete which have different gameplay styles, keeping things fresh. The game also includes a boss on every level, something oddly missing from the first game. These bosses are really fun and test your skills, one of my favorites being Mr. Patch, which has you flying with Kazooie while shooting grenades at the patches, making a really cool aerial fight. One boss I didn't really enjoy though was Old King Cole, who you just spam shoot over and over again until he dies. And he doesn't really attack you, he just runs around helplessly as you pelt him with eggs, making the boss way too easy to really be any fun like the other bosses that offer fun, unique challenges. Now even though I really enjoy the more open style of the game, one problem that comes with it is the sheer amount of backtracking that has to be done. It isn't awful, but sometimes it's really annoying when you can see exactly what you need to do, but you just can't do it yet without a specific move or ability. Also, some of the locations in the game just don't have any distinguishable locations, making the backtracking even harder because you get lost trying to find the place you need to go back to. I think the game could have really benefited from some sort of map or some kind of tracker that lets you know where you are in a level. And even though I was just praising some of the challenges earlier, there still are some annoying ones like the races with Canary Mary, who by the way looks absolutely terrifying, which mainly consist of just mashing a button over and over again, hoping that you win the race. All of these things combined make many fans unsure if Tooie is better than Kazooie or the other way around. So what are my thoughts? In the end, even though Tooie technically has loads more problems than Kazooie, I think I prefer it over the original. I know lots of people may disagree with me on that, and they are free to do so, but I really enjoyed the more open levels and overall just larger feeling scope of the game, and the many new types of challenges it threw at me. Alright everybody, I did it! I played both of the original Banjo Kazooie games. Where is everyone?
Sir, it is 4 in the morning. The party ended 5 hours ago.
Huh. Felt like I was only in there for 12 minutes. Oh, wait, then why are you still here?
I've been waiting for the bathroom.
Well, guess I'll head back home then. Okay, so today may have not been the biggest success, but at least I got a video out of it. And plus, there's always New Year's. Wait, does this mean I have to talk about nuts and bolts?